All right, guys, should we get into our review of WandaVision?
Let's do it.
All right. So the series was 9 episodes long. Probably, I didn't look, probably multiple directors, but it says head writer was Jack Schaefer. The cast includes Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff, Paul Bettany as Vision, Catherine Hahn as Agnes, Tiona Paris as Monica Rambeau. What was your guys' kind of initial impressions? We'll first go spoiler free. What was kind of your guys' overall impression of the show, and did your opinion of the show change from episode 1 to episode 9?
Yeah. Episode 1, I wasn't sure what to expect. I thought, is it going to be corny kind of, because it started out with that whole 1950s theme and everything.
Yeah, there was a couple, there's like a couple episodes before it kind of really started to get rolling, so I was kind of like, it started a little slow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so too.
But towards the end, I thought it, of course it picked up, but, I really enjoyed the story, and I don't think in and of itself it's like the best story, but I think the way it's setting up what's coming up in the future, I think it did a great job.
Yeah, it put some blocks in place. You can definitely see that.
Yeah.
I kind of like these little moral stories where like you watch the whole thing and at the end you're like, I get it. Bitches are crazy. But no, on the whole, I did enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah, same here. I really enjoyed it. It's similar to you guys, like those first couple episodes, even though like I appreciated the homage to like classic television, I was like, okay, let's get things moving. But by like episode 4, when they start, kind of started the story of, expanded the story, showed what was going on outside. And then to me, the show really picked up and got more interesting. Yeah. All right, so yeah, let's get into it. Let's you guys can do as many spoilers as you want. So spoiler warning from this point out. Let me bring up the actual episode list here. Now, the one thing, what did you guys think of the episode lengths? Because to me, like the first several episodes were only 30 minutes, and maybe that's because they were trying to go for the classic TV thing and like shorter episodes, but like I felt like those were like nothing. Like they went by so fast that and maybe that's their thing, is make you want more. But I think I could have used longer episode lengths.
Yeah, I was okay with the first ones being short because I just felt like they were trying to push set it up. And then after that, when they got into the meat of the story, they got longer, right? Because they
got to about 40 minutes, I think.
Yeah, the last episode was like 50.
Maybe. The last one might have been a little bit longer.
Yeah, so I mean, where they did have to flesh out the story, they definitely did that. But at the beginning, I was okay with those being short just because they weren't as interesting to me, I thought.
Yeah.
Now, I'm pretty sure that like the next series, like Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki, I think those ones are 6 episodes, so I'm hoping they have longer episodes, but they're probably going to be about 40 apiece, I would imagine. Mandalorian's like that too, like 40-minute episodes, and I'm always like, man, couldn't they go a little bit longer? But I mean,
how excited are you guys? Well, we're talking about WandaVision, but how excited are you guys for Falcon and Winter Soldier?
I do like those characters. It's tough because WandaVision I kind of knew. I think I watched one really short trailer for Winter Soldier and Falcon, so and it didn't really give away plot details. And now I know they have another one out, but I don't want to really know that much about it.
Yeah.
WandaVision, I knew the premise and I thought it sounded very interesting. And so I was maybe a little more excited for WandaVision. But yeah, I'm definitely keen to watch those other shows as well.
I'm the same way. I don't know what to expect. I knew House of M, because I'd looked up the comics and stuff. So I knew that was going to be the storyline in WandaVision. I was excited about that. But there are some super strength characters, it looks like, in Falcon and Winter Soldier. but I'm not sure how it ties into the rest of the universe. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. But I was definitely more excited about WandaVision.
I'd probably wait and see what the reviews say. If it's great.
I mean, we're going to review it on the show, so you're going to have to watch it.
I've gotten caught behind a couple 8 balls already.
I'm going to say, though, I'm definitely not going to watch it. I don't want to watch it week to week. I think I'm going to wait for it to stack up because I was wishing I did that with WandaVision, too, because, like, man, I know, like, a lot of people like watching week to week and they like to, guess, what's going to happen next week and all that. But, man, I'm hoping that, like, other people don't start doing this more because I just like everything at once. I like it to be there. I like to just watch it. And I think I retain more shit if I watch it like that, too.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I've heard a lot of people say the other way. Like, they liked it, that it was every Friday. It kind of reminded them of, like, TGIF and stuff, being a kid and watching shows on Friday and having something to look forward to.
Well, I know, like, Game of Thrones is, like, every week you're like... And you felt compelled to watch it as well because other people were going to be talking about it.
Well, that's the thing. If a show becomes, like, popular enough, then you got spoilers to watch out for, which is something...
With WandaVision, that definitely...
Yeah.
I couldn't go on YouTube for, some time. I was like, every video is just something reviewing WandaVision. So, yeah, you definitely got to look out for that. But I think I'll do it again. I think I'll... Like, this time, the only episodes I had to wait for were the last 2. But... yeah, it was much better watching them all at once because you don't get that fatigue from watching like the first 2 episodes and being like, I don't know, is it really that good to want to keep watching it? Because you just get into the third one and it picks up and you're engulfed in the story. You're into it. So yeah, I prefer it.
So I figured we'd just kind of go through the episodes here and like. If you have something to say about it, you can go.
Probably not going to remember.
Episode 1, a film before a live studio audience. So that one, I think it was basically a take on I Love Lucy and like the, like he's going to have his boss over for dinner and they have that whole fiasco where, her magic's going out of control and they got to like, keep it from their boss and his wife, the woman from that 70s show.
Yeah.
She's back again.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, like I guess like I can appreciate like the homage to that type of show, but at the same time, it's like you really didn't get that much of a sense of what was going on. I guess so. It was just kind of a introductory thing. Don't touch that dial. That's the other black and white episode where they have the magic show, and. He swallows a piece of gum, which makes him drunk for some reason.
That was weird. I was like, you could kill Vision with a piece of gum, or you could stop him or something like that. Yeah, that was very much Wanda's powers doing that.
But we did get, she found like the little toy helicopter drone that was in color.
Right. And then that beekeeper.
Beekeeper, and like I don't remember if it was her or the one lady. Like, oh, there was the other lady. She like got cut or something, and the blood was red. I think that Dottie lady.
Dottie. It's kind of like building mystery.
And you could hear on the radio like it.
Jimmy Woo.
Yeah, that it was coming through. Mm-hmm. Episode 3 now in color. So that's the one that was like a 70s sitcom, like Brady Bunch aesthetics. And that's the one where she got pregnant and had the kids, like, all in one episode, basically. What did you guys think about the kids overall?
I didn't like them, but...
Yeah, they were kind of like vases or something.
Yeah.
They were around.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. I wasn't emotionally like, I wasn't invested in them at all. Because that's kind of because I already knew, like, in the House of M story, what they are. Like... In the comics, the kids are something else. They're part of an entity called Mephisto, and they're his arms or something. So they're just a part of him. And I kind of figured like these kids will come and go, so I didn't let myself get invested in them.
I don't know much about those characters, but I know like at least not the Speed one, which I think his name is just Speed, but the other one's name is Wiccan. Mm-hmm. And I think at one point he's like in the Young Avengers, which is basically like, like the Teen Titans group of Marvel. And so I'm thinking at some point or another, like those kids are going to come back. They'll probably be like, teenagers or something. But I'm guessing, they're not completely done. They'll be back at some point, I'm thinking. But yeah, the thing is like, she has this like farewell to him at the end, but it's like, really, you didn't spend that much time with him.
Yeah, they came and like...
Yeah, you don't feel a lot when that happens.
Yeah.
Even though they always talk about like Wanda and Vision's love too, you never really like feel like they're like deeply in love or anything.
I mean,
I mean, you kind of buy it because they say it.
Yeah, that's it. You just buy it because they say in Avengers: Infinity War that they've been together for 2 years. So I'm like, in that time, they probably got to know each other.
The thing is, I heard I don't know if I read it or heard it on podcast, but somebody was saying like their combined screen time in like all the movies, it's not very much,
right?
So really, this show was your biggest introduction to them.
Well, the thing is, like, there's some question of like how much she's controlling him, and you're like, well, how in love can you be with this thing if you're like partially like creating it, or like I wasn't sure where the line was there. Like, how much was he Vision? How much was he just like something she made up or something? I don't know.
Yeah. So episode 4, this was the episode that I think kind of turned the show around for me and made me more interested. This is the one where they took a break and kind of focused on Monica Rambeau. And we find out, like, she was at the hospital and her mom was, like, sick with cancer, but they told her it was, like, in remission. And then she was a victim of the snap. And then, like, she came back and didn't know, like, the 5 years had passed. And, like, she came out and she was like, where's my mom? And they're like, oh, like, she died a couple years ago when the cancer came back. And, like, so it's like, I thought that was, like, a clever use of the snap.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
And, like, what it could do to someone. And then I don't remember all that. I don't think it was on that episode. But the one thing about her, and, like, I've read comic stories that she's in, but never like a deep dive of her. I was a little confused. I'm not 100% sure like what her powers are, because like when she comes through the gateway in like that astronaut type suit, like right after that she has like definitely some weird powers where like her vision, like she sees in some different like I guess light spectrum or something. And then at the very last episode, like, we see the bullets pass through her.
Right, she kind of changes, like, the material she's made out of or something.
Something
some
like...
kind of weird, like, physical...
Yeah, I think her name is Spectrum.
Yeah, Spectrum in the comic. So it must have something to do with light, maybe? Or, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't say for sure what it is.
And I know in the comic, like, at one point, she took over the mantle of Captain Marvel. So it wouldn't surprise me if down the road they do that,
Yeah, plus nobody seems to like this Captain Marvel, man. Like the movies, people didn't like it too much, and then like the other actors, it seems like they don't really like the actress who plays.
Oh, Brie Larson.
Seems like she's.
I don't know about how the other actors like her. I mean, I like that movie fine. It is, but it's definitely a movie that has a message, and they're very ham-fisted about it. Yeah. Probably more so than they need to be. You go back to that first Wonder Woman movie, and they do a lot of like just showing you she's badass, like in the the World War I field where she's like has the shield and the bullets
awesome.
and all that.
Yeah.
And so I thought that movie was better at kind of showing and not telling, whereas Miss Marvel, even though I like the movie, they're very like kind of ham-fisted about like woman power and stuff.
Yeah, I did notice that a lot of people felt like it was kind of forced, on them.
Yeah. She's another one of those characters that's just so insanely over the top powerful that it's just kind of like it's hard getting attached.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I feel like the emotions just aren't there with Captain Marvel, like there's no...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen her in other stuff I really liked, but I don't know.
I think the character just hasn't been fleshed out well enough yet. But they're going to make a next movie, so maybe there'll be more range there.
I don't know. Like I have the same problems with Superman. It's like I just don't attach.
Yeah, he also doesn't really compel me. Like I don't think like, wow, he's really like he's in a tough spot. He's Superman.
Yeah,
He's
he's Superman.
and she's Marvel's Superman, basically.
I think Superman would be more interesting. Like, well, there's kind of different portrayals, but like the ones where he's like, he's super strong, and then on top of that, he's like a super genius or something. I think I'd like it if he was just a little bit stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, at the very least, he doesn't have to be like a super genius,
Right.
Yeah.
Some
could-
normality.
I mean, he's a reporter, so you figure he's intelligent, but he doesn't have to be like a super duper genius.
Yeah.
Superman is one of those characters I like, despite agreeing with a lot of the common complaints about him, like he is too powerful. But I have read, and seen a lot of Superman stories that I liked, and I think a lot of it has to do with like the characters around him. Like I think Lois can be very entertaining. And,
Well, I think that relationship is one of the most important things for Superman. But what was I thinking? Is it Grant Morrison has some? It's like All-Star Superman or something.
All-Star Superman, yeah, that's a story like a lot of people really love, and they put it up as like one of the best Superman stories ever. I think to me it's overrated. Like it's a fine story, totally recommendable, but I don't think it's like
Top notch.
yeah.
Top shelf.
There's other Superman stories that I enjoy more so than that.
My favorite was the one where Batman kicks his ass.
One thing I like about Superman the animated series is though even though he's like really powerful, like you do get the sense that like like some of the other strong villains they could like beat him to the point of death.
Right.
like he's not that indestructible. Like if he got punched enough by Darkseid, you get the sense that he could die.
Yeah, they got to really like make those villains powerful.
Yeah. Next, let's see, on a very special episode. So I think this was the one that takes place in like the 80s. The kids age up quite a bit.
Is this where Pietro makes his?
Yeah, at the very end.
Okay.
And like they have the whole thing where they have the dog and it dies. And,
Right, like 5 minutes after they get it.
Yeah.
yeah. Now, okay, getting to Pietro. So they bring Evan Peters over, who was, of course, Pietro in the Fox universe, and a much more entertaining Quicksilver in those movies than Aaron Taylor Johnson was in the Marvel movies. But the thing is like, I was like, okay, what are they gonna do with him? And they ended up, in the end, just making, I guess, a boner joke out of him, which was a little disappointing. But at the same time, like, I have no interest in them, carrying over like the Fox characters and that continuity, because there really is no continuity. It's a mess.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think of about them bringing him over and doing that? Was it kind of?
I just
I don't know.
all those like fanboys of Quicksilver and like the X-Men universe, like they really lost their shit with this, they really rubbed them the wrong way. But for me, I was totally fine with it. I like Evan Peters. I liked him in American Horror Story. I liked him in as Quicksilver. So I was like, yeah, bring him in. He's the better option between him and Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah.
Maybe that's what they're trying to sort out.
Yeah, if you have a choice, pick the better one. So yeah, I was fine with it. And it doesn't have to go somewhere every time. It could just be for fun and shits and giggles. So yeah, it's okay that it didn't go anywhere.
Next was the all-new Halloween Spooktacular, where they go out trick-or-treating, and this is the one where at the end, like,
it starts falling apart.
Yeah, well, Vision like goes outside the wall and basically almost dies, and so that's when she expands the wall. And of course, they kind of put her Halloween costume is kind of the classic, Scarlet Witch costume from the comic books.
And Vision's costume was his like classic costume too.
Yeah.
Ugly as hell.
Yeah.
Next was the Breaking the Fourth Wall episode, the kind of, Modern Family Office type episode where, she's on videotape, breaking the fourth wall and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, at the end is where we find out that, Agnes was Agatha Harkness, and she was kind of the villain of the whole thing.
Yeah, it was a little weird, but
Now,
I wouldn't say she was a villain. I wouldn't say she was like the only villain though.
right?
Yeah.
Now, this is what so Catherine Hahn, of course, plays her, and I thought she was really great. The only thing is with this show, like I would have been, and this is another thing, like people were speculating, like you were talking about, oh, Mephisto, he's going to be in there and all this kind of stuff.
Or Chthon.
But to me, I was like, why can't Wanda just be the antagonist? Like, I don't really view her as a villain but I do view her as an antagonist.
right, that's kind of how it shaped up initially.
But like, I would have been okay with just like,
It was like internal demons.
yeah, it being a story of her having this, mental breakdown out of grief, and not really meaning to hurt all these people, but kind of doing it on accident. And like, to me, that would have been enough. Like, I'm fine with the direction they went, but also I kind of like everyone that's familiar with comics kind of thought that Agnes was going to be that Agatha Harkness character, but I actually thought she was going to end up kind of being like an ally, like someone who was trying to help Wanda rather than hurt her. What did you guys suspect about her character?
Yeah, I kind of already had heard about her from the comics, and in that she does play like kind of an ally, like a mentor to Scarlet Witch. But yeah, I was a little disappointed that wasn't the case, just because I thought like she could. Well, to preface that, she is going to come back probably. She is saved for the future.
She will, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
so I'm okay with that. But at first, I was a little concerned. I thought they were going to write her out.
Yeah, I guarantee, like one of the movies or TV shows in the future, like there'll be like an evil wizard, maybe like that Mordu guy from Doctor Strange. And they'll be like, we need another magic person on the team, and they'll be like, I know just the person.
Well, they made a point to set it up so that she's gonna get in some trouble she can't figure out by herself, and then she'll have to go dig her up.
Oh, that could be it too. Like Wanda has to go free her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that going either way, but yeah, they'll definitely use her again, and people really, liked her.
Yeah, I really did like her. She brought like those first 2 episodes, which were like super dull. Like she brought a lot of life to it because I was like, there's something about this character, and she's like, so charismatic and stuff. So I liked watching her. She was fun on screen.
I will say, like, one of the things that they did with this show that I think may have, got expectations higher and kind of disappointed people is they throw out these things that I guess ended up just being like, Easter eggs and misdirections, like Pietro, like he ended up being just like some guy next door neighbor named Boner, and then like she mentions like she has that rabbit named Scratch, which I've never in the comics, like I guess there's a character named Nick Scratch, which is like maybe her son or something that's a character, and so they never did anything with that. So they got kind of these dangling threads that really never went anywhere interesting, which I think maybe hurt the show a little bit. Okay, episode 8 was previously on. Now this was, I think, one of the better episodes. This is the one that Agatha and her kind of delve into her past, and they kind of go through and they see her as a child, like her family was watching all these classic TV shows, and that's kind of what made her mind go to this when the whole thing started. And we see she was experimented on with Hydra or whatever. What do you guys think of that episode?
I liked her a lot.
Yeah,
it gave a lot of
good.
insight.
Yeah, the conflicts are coming to life, and some good backstory.
It does make me wonder, like, so was she all like? Because it looked like she had stopped that bomb from going off with like a luck spell or whatever they said.
Yeah, chaos magic.
Something, yeah. And then like she was introduced to the Infinity Stone later. So like, did she get even more powerful? Like with the Infinity Stone, was that separate from the magic she had already had?
I think it made her more powerful, but that's something that I was a little confused on because at one point, like they say that she created this new vision with the part of the Mind Stone that's within her.
Yeah.
And it's like that's something they never really set up before.
Yeah.
But I was a little confused on that, but then I was like, I just go with it, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, I think that was one of the stronger episodes. And then the finale. So the finale, it starts off with, her and Agnes fighting, and then they bring in the white vision that starts feuding with her vision. Now, the one thing I was a little confused by is in Age of Ultron, the movie, which I haven't watched in forever, but Marvel keeps like suggesting it to people because you watch WandaVision. But in that movie, it was the Mind Stone that actually brought Vision to life, right? Like, and we understand that the vision she made basically came to life because of the part of the Mind Stone within her. But then, like, how did they get the white vision to work?
Well, it seems like they still had like all his parts and pieces, and like his memory was stored or something, and so like part of him was still there.
So they don't need the Mind Stone power to power him?
So I mean, maybe that was like the spark.
Yeah, it looked like they had like a little arc reactor like in his head, like right where that stone
Yeah, he
used to
still
be.
had something, didn't he?
Yeah.
But anyway, white vision and regular, or I guess her vision, they had that discussion about the ship, and if you replace it board by board or whatever, is it the same ship? And eventually that makes them come to a standstill. And I think what happens is her vision basically gives the white vision all of his memories.
Yeah.
Right, like they blocked him from his memory, so he's more like a robot doing what's commanded. So he restores his memory to him, and then like he's his own person again or something. And then he flies off to like the next movie we're going to see him.
Yeah, so yeah, he flies off to, we'll see him again. I mean, my guess is they're going to do a thing where like, she confronts him, but like, and he's like, yeah, I have those memories, but I'm not that guy, so I'm not like in love with you like he was, and just to get some drama out of that, I that would be my guess, but I don't know for sure. And then let's see what else. Oh yeah, so her and Agnes getting kind of this fight where they're throwing the the red and purple fireballs at each other, and like Wanda kind of cleverly does this thing where she makes runes around in the sky, because the prior episode, Agnes had cut off her power, and she mentions it's because she has these magic runes around the room.
So that's the little plot hole there.
Yeah, so that's how they bring that reference back, I guess.
Well, basically, the other woman she's not supposed to be able to use her magic inside those ruins, so that would mean like all of it was coming from Wanda.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and that's the other thing. I'm like, okay, so she makes these runes, which should cut off the other woman's power, but then she makes it look like, and
Maybe she didn't bring the ruins out till later.
Well, she makes it look like,
No, she had just thrown them, right? Because she was throwing the runes onto the wall while she was throwing her powers at her, right?
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
but the other thing is she makes Wanda, it looks like she totally zaps her power. She becomes all like, black and skeletal. And so that we think, oh, did Wanda just lose? And then it's like, oh no, she tricked her and all this. Yeah. But it's like, why would she go through all that effort when she just,
a little convoluted?
Wouldn't she just go like, oh, you see these runes? Like, I win, boom. Yeah. Instead of putting on this show for her.
Yeah, she really wanted to rub some salt in.
Maybe she's like, people are still watching this WandaVision, right? I got to get this juice out of them.
No, but it was good because like that way you get to see what she was going to do. I lied. I'm really going to kill you now. And then she messes up, So you get to see that true face of hers.
And then, to wrap up, like, they tuck the kids in the bed, and we know that like they're gonna disappear. And then they kind of have their Wanda and Vision kind of have their touching scene where they kiss each other goodbye, and we can see the wall coming. We know Vision's gonna disappear, and it was a good scene and everything. Let's see, is there anything else to note?
The bit of Darcy sighting, she was in this series.
Oh yeah. Oh, that kind of reminds me of the other thing I wanted to bring up. What did you guys? So they have that Haywood guy who's just like the FBI
total
dickhead
dick, yeah.
or whatever. Like he's another guy. Like I'm not sure they need it.
I mean, it's just conflict, right?
See, that's another thing though. Wouldn't it have been kind of interesting if maybe they had that guy, and you're like, man, this guy's
Pretty much, you could have cut out everything on the outside. I mean,
but what they could have done is have that guy be a real dickhead at first, and then when you find out that Wanda's like the antagonist and she's like really fucking up these people, and then maybe you go, oh, this guy is maybe kind of a dickhead, but like he's got a point,
But he didn't even really know what was going on.
Yeah.
He was. The other thing that was weird though is so that the final episode, like he's in his like military Humvee or whatever, and like Darcy like drives into it with the van,
Right.
and she's like, "Well, you're fucked. Couldn't he just get out the other side of the like?" It's things like that
you're
that are just like, oh, they wrapped that one up with a bow.
I don't know. Yeah. Why did he shoot the kids? Why?
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Like he's a real asshole. He was just gonna like kill kids.
Like, as long as I'm here, if I'm going down, these kids are going.
He's like,
They're not Wanda, but they're her kids.
they're fake kids anyway. And then, did you guys watch like the post credit scenes?
Yeah, those
I
are the
did.
best parts right there.
I didn't think they were like amazing. So like,
I watched the credits for 2 minutes. I went and took a piss. I came back. Credits were still going. I was like, "Fuck it, I'll fast forward." And then like I was fighting with the remote, and I was like, "Fuck it."
well, I gotta say, because of the Disney app, like the first time through, I missed the second post credit scene, and then I was listening to a podcast and someone mentioned a second, and I'm like, oh, I better go back because. But yeah, basically, the first post credit scene, an agent. Oh, it looks like this week
A video just gave out on us.
So if you're on YouTube, you'll just be seeing a static screen right now. But
Yeah.
that's fine.
Or
That's
we'll
fine.
just cut it where we stopped
No,
before we got to the post credits.
But we don't got much to go. So basically, the first post credit scene, Monica Rambeau, she's called into like the theater by this other agent. We find out the agent is a Skrull, and they're like, "Oh, we could use your help in space or whatever," and like that's where she wanted to go anyway. So she was like happy about that. And then the second post credit scene, there's like this cabin in the woods, and Wanda's on the front porch. She goes inside, and like inside the cabin is also her, like I guess, astral projecting and reading that like
Darkhold
book, Darkhold book or whatever. So yeah, that's how it ends.
Yeah, so I mean, like you said earlier, like she could still be the big bad villain because I mean she's reading that book, and from what I know, it's like supposed to be full of evil and stuff.
Oh, right, and there's a prophecy she's gonna destroy the earth or something.
Yeah, she's like So in the comics, there's this being called Chthon that had originally made that book. So and he in the comics touched her when she was like first born or something like that, and gave her some of his powers, and that's why she uses chaos magic. So she's supposed to be like his vessel for returning. So let's see if they incorporate that. That'd be interesting.
Man, I'm a comic book nerd, but you know more than I do.
They said he's been reading up.
Yeah, I've been reading up.
I've never done a deep dive on these particular characters, so. But yeah, overall, great series. I'm excited to see more of these Disney Plus comic book shows. Yeah. All right. Anything else to add before we wrap things up here?
Side note, I knew a guy in the army named Boner. Bonaire.
What was his first name?
I don't know.
Oh, it was pronounced Bonaire. Or that was
It
what he
was, it was pronounced Bonaire because it's like French. But like he told the drill sergeant, he's like, "You can call me Boner," and the drill sergeant's like, "I'm not calling you Boner."
Private Bonaire.
There was a guy in
Private
high
Boner.
school named Boner too.
If he went to the Navy, he could have been Seaman Boner.
Yeah, the famous Bonaires.
Steven Boner.
There's a guy named like, "Oh my name's Smith." Someone's like, "Oh, I'm Schumacher. My granddad was a shoemaker. What's your name? Boner." Oh.